So, I was at the park a couple days ago. And I was telling somebody about Jesus, and the guy goes, "Well, what what's your proof for Christianity?" And I said, "Oh, well, the resurrection. The whole thing hinges on the resurrection." And then he goes, "Well, what is your proof for the resurrection?" So, in the next couple of videos, I'm going to give my proof for the resurrection. I mean, it happened 2,000 years ago. So one of the questions I asked the guy was like, what constitutes proof? But that's a different discussion. So I'm going to read a couple things, and then we're going to talk. And then at the end of this video series, you're going to go, oh my goodness, Jesus rose from the dead. And you're going to become a Christian. And then it's going to be great. Okay, so here's Josephus, Antiquities 4:219. But let not a single witness be credited. See, he's talking about, admissible witnesses in court. But 3 or 2 at the least, and those whose such testimony is confirmed by their good lives. Okay, makes sense. But let not the testimony of women be admitted, on account of the levity and boldness of their sex. Nor let slaves be admitted to give testimony account of the ignobility of their soul, since it is probable that they may not speak the truth. So, there you go. No women, no slaves, because women and slaves are ignoble. It's very likely they won't speak the truth. You just can't trust them. Why is this relevant? Well, who were the first recorded witnesses of Jesus being resurrected in the Gospels? Women. So here you have Josephus saying, "Don't listen to women. Their testimony shouldn't be admissible in court. They're ignoble. They may not speak the truth." And then the Gospel writers say that women are the first witnesses of the resurrection. As a matter of fact, one of the women is named Mary Magdalene. I'm sure you guys know about her. And in Luke 8, verse 2, she's spoken of as being formerly possessed by 7 demons. These are the first witnesses of the resurrection. Now, how do you think that conversation went in the first century? You go, hey, Jesus of Nazareth, he was dying, he rose from the dead. And you go, well, who are these witnesses? Who saw this happen? And you go, a couple women, one of whom was demon possessed. I mean, how do you think that conversation went? Well, I can tell you how it went. Here's a guy named Celsus. He was an intellectual. Listen to Celsus's argument against the resurrection. Here it is. But we must examine this question. Whether anyone who really died ever rose again with the same body. While he was alive, he did not help himself, meaning his crucifixion. He couldn't help himself. But after death, he rose again and showed the marks of his punishment and how his hands had been pierced. But who says this? A hysterical female, as you say, and perhaps some other one of those who were deluded by the same sorcery. Did you get his argument? His argument is, we know that when people die, they don't come back from the dead. And you're saying that he did. But who's saying that really? A deluded female. A hysterical female. Most commentators on Celsus believe that he's referring to Mary Magdalene. You can see here, mentioning women as the first witnesses to the resurrection was not helpful. Now, this puts the following in context and explains it perfectly. In Luke chapter 24, verse 11, when the women go and tell the disciples, the male disciples, about the resurrection, because remember, the women are the first witnesses. Now you can understand the reaction of the men. Luke chapter 24, verse 11 says, after the women had told them about the resurrection, but they did not believe the women, because their words seemed to them like nonsense. The word nonsense basically means a message that is simply incoherent and unintelligible. Now, after reading Josephus and Celsus, you can understand why the men reacted that way to the women. You irrational, unintelligent, deluded, hysterical women, what do you know about it? That was the reaction. Here's my point. Here you are with you and your buddies, and you're trying to invent this new, weird, crazy religion called Christianity. And you guys are sitting there plotting, and the central doctrine of your new, crazy, made-up religion that's not true is the resurrection. And there you guys are, and you're sitting there talking to each other and going, how can we... Oh, let's make the first eyewitnesses women, and let's make sure that we include one of the women who we've said is demon possessed. Not only demon possessed by 7 demons. That'll sell them on it. I submit to you that the reason the New Testament records that it was women who were the first witnesses of the resurrection of Jesus was because women were the first witnesses of the resurrection of Jesus. I guarantee you, if there was any other way, the original authors of the New Testament would not have included that, because as you can see, it's not helpful to their argumentation. Okay, that's part 1. Other ones coming on the way. If you're not a Christian yet, you will be in the next video. Peace.